Is Charleston actually worth it? This is the question I get more than any other. More than cost of living, more than which neighborhood. People want the real answer before they pack a single box. So today I'm giving it to you straight. The genuine pros, the genuine cons, and at the end, I'm going to tell you what locals actually say about people moving here because it's not what you'd expect. If you've watched my other videos, you know the cost numbers, you know my story, you know the neighborhoods. This is the video where I put it all together and give you my honest, complete verdict. Let's get into it. Pro number 1, Charleston rarely drops below 40 degrees in the winter. No heavy coat, no scraping ice off your windshield. You get sun most days out of the year, and you can be outside in some capacity almost every week of the year. If you're coming from anywhere with real winter, gray skies for months, snow, that bone-chilling cold through April, this alone changes your quality of life in a way that's hard to understand until you're living it. Yes, summers do get hot and humid, but most transplants tell me they'd take that trade every single time, including myself. Pro number 2, the food scene is one of the best in the country. This is not local pride talking. Charleston has actually been recognized nationally for its food scene for years. We're talking James Beard nominees, farm-to-table menus, some of the best seafood you'll ever find on the East Coast. And it's not just fine dining. It's casual spots too. The little seafood shack, the biscuit place that's been around for decades. Whatever your food budget is, Charleston delivers. Pro number 3, job growth is real. It's not just tourism. People assume Charleston runs on tourism and hospitality. It doesn't. Not anymore. Boeing builds Dreamliners in North Charleston and has been expanding its presence here. MUSC is one of the major medical employers in the Southeast. The Port of Charleston keeps growing. Put together, that's a diversified economy, not a one-industry town that lives or dies on visitors. If you're relocating for work, that matters. It means the local economy can support your career long after the moving boxes are unpacked. Pro number 4, taxes work in your favor coming from most states. I covered this in detail in my New York comparison video, but it bears repeating. South Carolina's income tax tops out around 5%. Property taxes are low on primary residence, and Social Security isn't taxed. If you're coming from the Northeast or the Midwest, this adds up to real money every year. Pro number 5, a genuine sense of community. I talked about this in my New York comparison video as well, and I want to add to it here because it's not just a nice feeling, it actually shapes daily life. This is a place where you run into people you know, maybe at the grocery store or the park, picking your kid up from school. That might sound small, but it changes how a place feels to live. For people coming from a big city where you can live in the same building for years and never learn a neighbor's name, that shift is enormous. It's the kind of thing you don't know you're missing until you have it back. And once you do, it's hard to imagine living any other way. All right, pro number 6, real estate has been a strong long-term investment. Home values in Charleston County climbed roughly 81% in the 6 years following the pandemic, adding an average of over $300,000 in equity for homeowners who bought and held. That run-up has slowed, and the market has normalized into something healthier and more balanced heading into 2026. Inventory is up, days on market are increasing, and buyers are having more leverage than they did a few years ago. But here's why I still think the long-term picture stays strong. The same things driving people to move here, job growth from companies like Boeing, the port's continued expansion, mild weather, and a population that keeps choosing this region over and over, those are some fundamentals that support real estate demand over time. This isn't a market propped up by speculation. It's propped up by people actually wanting to live here year after year. That doesn't mean pricing only goes up. No market works that way. But if you're buying with a multi-year horizon, the underlying demand here gives you a lot more confidence than a market driven by hype alone. All right, now we've got some cons. Con number 1, it is pretty expensive. I'm not going to soften this. Home prices in the Charleston Metro are well above the national average, and in some segments downtown, the Battery and Mount Pleasant, They're competing with much larger cities. The median single-family home in Charleston County is now worth $700,000, and luxury markets have been setting records, including a $21.5 million sale on the Battery in late 2025. This is not a budget market. Con number 2 is flooding. Flood zones and insurance require real homework. Charleston is a coastal city, and not every part of it carries the same flood risk. Insurance costs can vary enormously block to block, and buyers who skip this step can get blindsided at the closing table. Do not buy here without understanding the flood zones. I have a full video on this. The link is in the description. Con number 3, the market has been a seller's market and inventory is still tight. Heading into 2026, the Charleston market is more balanced than it has been in years. Inventory is up, days on market are increasing, and buyers finally have more leverage than they did from 2021 to 2023. That said, well-priced homes in high-demand areas are still moving before or within 30 days to 45 days, and supply remains below what's needed for a fully balanced market. Translation: you still need to move decisively when the right home appears. Con number 4, hurricane season is part of life here. Charleston has not taken a major direct hit since Hugo in 1989, and that track record matters, but it's still important to know it exists to be aware when a tropical storm or hurricane is coming through. Locals have a saying that if the Coburg cow is still up and the Waffle House is still open, then no need to worry. The hurricane is not something to evacuate from. It's just going to be a tropical storm or something pretty small. Con number 5, traffic is increasing, even if it's relative. Locals complain about traffic, and I've said before that compared to New York or Boston, it's mild. But South Carolina has been the fastest growing state in the country. And that growth puts real strain on roads that weren't built for this many people. Johns Island and the bridges in and out of the peninsula are the spots where you'll feel the traffic the most. Now, I want to address something head on because I see it more and more in comments, mostly on social media and sometimes in conversations with people who are on the fence. People are saying Charleston is saturated, too crowded, too built up. Don't move here. And I'll be honest with you, you will hear that. If you post something online about being on the fence about moving to Charleston, your comment box will be flooded with people saying, don't move here, it's full. But it's not something they actually mean. Once you're moved, once you're a neighbor, once you're the person standing next to them at the farmer's market, that kind of talk disappears. So where does it come from? Let me tell you honestly, because I think this is the real answer. The growth here has been rapid. And if you've lived in Charleston for 20 years, if you remember when there was no traffic on Maybach Highway, when James Island felt like the edge of nowhere, when you could get a table anywhere downtown without a wait, this growth feels like a lot. It feels like the city you knew is disappearing. That reaction is real, and I understand it, but here's the part that matters for you, the person actually considering the move. Charleston hasn't grown because something went wrong. It's grown because it's a great place to live. The growth is the byproduct of the appeal, not the sign that the appeal is running out. Compare that to where you're likely coming from. If you're leaving New York, New Jersey, Boston, or Chicago, even a crowded Charleston is going to feel spacious. And if you're coming from somewhere much smaller and quieter, the growth here is exactly what's giving you the restaurants, the job market, and the amenities you're moving here for in the first place. So don't move here seriously as a warning. It's just something people love to say online. Take it for what it actually is, a city that grew fast because people kept discovering what locals have known for a long time. You're not ruining anything by moving here. You're just the next chapter of a place that's been worth moving to for a while now. So pulling it all together, is Charleston worth it in 2026? If you're coming from a more expensive, more congested market, and most of the people I work with are, the answer is almost always yes. You will get more space, more sun, a lower tax bill, and a slower pace that takes some adjusting, but usually something you learn to love. If you're coming from a much smaller, quieter place, and you want big city amenities without big city scale, Charleston delivers that balance better than almost anywhere on the East Coast. Where I'd pump the brakes, if your budget is super tight and you need the most affordable option available, or if you're chasing the Charleston of 15 years ago with undiscovered beaches, dirt cheap, and less crowds, that version doesn't exist anymore, and I'm not going to pretend that it does. But the Charleston that exists right now, growing, busy, still small enough to feel like home, that Charleston is, in my opinion, absolutely worth it for the right person. The question isn't whether Charleston is saturated, it's whether it's the right fit for your life. And that's a conversation worth having before you make any big move. If this video helped you get clarity, then check out my free homebuyers guide. It gives you a little bit more info on what to look for when buying in Charleston. The link is in the description. And if you want to talk through your specific situation, no pressure, no pitch. Just hit the Calendly link and let's get on a call. I'll tell you the truth, even if the truth is Charleston might not be the right fit for you. That's the kind of agent I want to be for you. I want you to love where you live, not just kind of like it. And if you want the deeper dive on any of this, the cost of living, my own move from the Pacific Northwest, or a full neighborhood breakdown, my other videos are in the description and at the end of the screen. Subscribe if you want more honest content about Charleston. I'm Justine Manuel, and I'll see you in the next one.